back to favorite things. This is a showdown between two very popular 91mm knives, Swiss Army knives. This is the Super Tinker, which is a 3-layer knife, and this is the Compact, which is a 2-layer knife. And so I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of these two. So let's check it out. A 4-layer knife like my old Explorer is just a little bit too much in the pocket. I think anything above 3 layers starts to become too bulky for good, comfortable EDC. I've had this for over 40 years and it's spent most of its days in a drawer. It's gotten a lot of use, but spent a lot of time in a drawer just because I don't carry it around as much. But something like this, which is 3 layers, noticeably more comfortable in the pocket. So by the pocket hanger, you can see that I use this quite often. By the way, pocket hangers are great. They keep the knife from resting at the bottom of your pocket, which often there's a lot of lint and kind of gets into the oils and can cause some gunking up. So this keeps it a little bit more high and dry. Also easy for you to remove the knife more quickly without having to fumble in your pocket. So these are really great. So this is the Compact. So what's wonderful about the Compact is it's 2 layers and it has a scissor, which is wonderful. So it's got the 2 layers. In combining the opening layer, it replaces the can opener and the bottle cap opener with the combo tool, which can do both of those. Although the can opening function is a little bit different, but I'm not going to get into that. To be honest, I would rather have a box opener like the new Companion. But anyway, so you got that instead of a second blade. You've got the main blade, and then you've got the scissor, and on the back side you have corkscrew. It does come with a pin. It also has a eyeglass screwdriver, accessory screwdriver, and then it has the hook, but it has the special hook with the abrasive material on the back side, which is usable as a nail file. And so one last thing is it also has plus scales. So not only do you have the tweezer and the toothpick, but you also have a pen, which is really handy to have. So Compact, really hard to beat EDC knife from Victorinox. Now, looking at what I think is its best competitor is another favorite of mine. This is the Super Tinker. So this one has the standard opening layer. It has your main blade and your small blade, and then it also has a scissor. And because of the traditional layers, it's going to have 3 layers instead of 2 like the Compact. And then instead of the corkscrew, you've got the Phillips. You do have the hook, but no abrasive material. And you do have the awl with sewing eye. You do not have plus scales. You do have a hole for the pin. You can certainly add plus scales, but it's an extra step. Which is the better of the two? Well, you know, it kind of depends on your preferences. But not everybody drinks wine, so I don't think the corkscrew is as functional as it is for everybody. I do prefer, in general, the Phillips. It's a lot more lower profile, less noticeable in the pocket. You know, when I'm putting on one of these keyring pocket hangers, I'm always thinking, see, I've got it set up so that when I put it in my pocket, the corkscrew is facing out, not rubbing against my leg. So I don't have to worry about that with the Phillips. It's flat, so it does not project out any further than the scale. Now, when it comes to the actual corkscrew function for the Compact, for example, I don't find the corkscrew to be that great as far as a wine opening implement. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you've probably seen that a lot of the used Victorinox knives that have corkscrews oftentimes come to me with a bent corkscrew. When you're using this, it's a lot harder than you think, and you end up oftentimes bending it, and so not the best. When it comes to opening a bottle of wine, I always would prefer a waiter's corkscrew. It has this pivoting backstop, or fulcrum, sometimes called a boot lever. And I find that that helps, as you can see here in my demo, when you're opening a bottle of wine, having that makes it a lot easier. And when you're using an old style corkscrew without that fulcrum, much better chance of bending the corkscrew. Now, the advantage of the corkscrew, yes, you can add auxiliary tools, you can add different drivers, you can add the Firefly, Fire Stick, a fire starter, etc. Now, one thing I will concede is that the corkscrew does function well as a knot loosening tool. So if you got a real tight knot and you need to loosen it up, it is very functional that way. So yes, the corkscrew is much more functional than the Phillips, but the Phillips, I just think it looks cooler. I think it's flatter and more comfortable, and it still has some function as a really good, comfortable tool for screwdrivers. This may be a little bit too much information, too gross, but occasionally I'll get an itch in my ear, and there's no better instrument and safer instrument than this Phillips to just go in there and just scratch that itch. But I don't think any other tool would do it. I'd be very nervous about this, or a hook, or God knows what else. So anyway, so maybe a little weird, but I do find that this is a very safe and comfortable instrument for scratching itches in your ear. And then the next thing is the hook. The hook is great. One of the things you can use it for is, if you're on your lunch break and you're watching a video on your phone, you can do one of these deals. So the hook is great. It also has lots of uses. I was using it the other day to clean the between slats of my deck outside. But yeah, the compact has the grit. But you know what, honestly, it is not very functional as a nail file. I find that the separate nail file that replaces the small blade in models such as the Sportsman are much more handy, and so that's the one I would prefer. Honestly, I think the best 91 millimeter all-around EDC may be the Companion, but I got to get my hands on one. I wish it was available in red scales. Hopefully it will be soon, rather than those kind of special New York and Sydney and Paris scales, but we'll see, maybe in the future. So the hook is kind of a wash as far as the grit, but I do think that the awl is very useful, not only as a box opener. You can punch holes. Really handy as a box opener if you don't want to dull or gunk up your main blade. And so I was under the house working on something, cleaning out some duct work, and I needed to punch a hole, and I happened to have my trusty compact with me, and I missed the awl. I was like, oh man, I need an awl. So I think that for me, honestly, the Super Tinker is the better all-around EDC. I don't find that the third layer adds enough bulk in the pocket to make the compact that much of an advantage. I mean, I still love the compact, don't get me wrong. It's wonderful all around. But if I put a pin in this guy, and if I put plus scales where I would add the pen into this Super Tinker, it would be like a extra Super Tinker. So that'd be pretty cool. So there you go. That's the 2-layer compact and the 3-layer Super Tinker. Now, if you like everything about the Super Tinker except for the Phillips, you can get a climber. So the climber is a 3-layer which has everything that the Super Tinker has, except it has the corkscrew instead of the Phillips. So that's your climber. If you're lucky enough, you can find a 84 millimeter small climber, which I described in this video here. As far as the best EDC, I've already covered that. It's a custom knife. This is what I call my Centurion. It's a custom. Basically, it's a Sportsman with scissors added on, and which means instead of having the second blade, you've got a nail file there. So that doesn't really count. But yeah, as far as EDC, I do find the advantage of an 84 millimeter. It's easier to stow away in a pocket, but the smaller size does not compromise it as a tool as much as you would think. Very little difference there between usable surface of that knife. So there it is. But I wanted to basically limit this discussion to options that are readily available and are still on the market. But yeah, between these two, my choice is the Super Tinker. Until they make the companion in the traditional red scales, this is the winner for me. All right, thanks so much and have a great day.